Hey, good humans, just want to take a moment to say thank you to everyone who's bought a Human Good face mask. With your help and with a partnership of Mask Heroes, we've been able to donate over 3,000 medical grade masks to local hospitals and healthcare workers. And we actually have a special guest who wants to say thank you herself.
Hi, my name is Jahira DeLauro. I'm an RN here at Kaiser West LA in Los Angeles. I want to give the biggest thank you and shout out to Mask Heroes and Jubilee for your very generous donation of masks. We are so appreciative. Words cannot describe how wonderful it is to be supported and loved by our community. Mwah.
All right, with no further ado, please enjoy the episode.
Two different times we didn't speak. There was a time where I was convinced that if I had a wedding, he wouldn't show up. If I had a kid, he wouldn't care. To be able to have that conversation has really been a huge blessing, man.
For the last 7 years, I've been without a dad, not because he passed, but because of the unfortunate event that we had to just part ways with him.
My father and I did not meet for the first time until I was 8.
And what was that like when you met your father?
Terrifying, nervous, exciting, everything that I wanted and was scared to see at the same time.
We have an unusual relationship. My son was on the other side of the country most of our existence together, so parenting from afar.
I think one of the major misconceptions is that like black kids don't have great dads. I grew up with a great father.
I have a 7.5-year-old, and we adopted him at birth. I view my responsibility is to just give him as much experience and as much insight to the varieties of the world so he has the tools necessary to enjoy life.
My name is Charles. I live in Fullerton, and I'm a musician.
My name is Angel. I'm from the Inland Empire, and I'm a worship leader.
My name is Daniel, and from the Valley, and I make things pretty.
My name is Steven. I'm from Stockton. I'm a warehouse worker and I have my own clothing brand.
My name is Tim. I live in Fullerton, and I'm in auto parts sales.
Can I get my father's on the left and my son's on the right? If you agree with the prompt, you'll come forward. I am closer to my mother than my father.
I'm closer to my mom than my dad. My dad was classic farming, raised with all boys, and there was just not a lot of female energy in there. And my dad did not know how to translate that to my sister and I.
For me, I'm definitely, obviously I walked up here, I am closer with my mom. When I was a child and when my dad was around, it was the complete opposite. For me at a young age, I was like 13 and I saw him kind of go downhill, loss of a job, gambling problem, and I was like, this really ain't it.
Yeah, I think for me, I can't really say that I'm closer more to one than the other just because I feel close to both of them in different ways. I'm just so thankful for my dad, because I grew up in a predominantly like Caucasian city with predominantly Caucasian friends, and my dad, he came from like a very like black background. And there were relatives that would be like, why does he talk like this? Or, why does he listen to that? Or, why does he walk like that or whatever? And my dad could have so easily sided with that perspective, but he was okay with me liking R&B and rock. And, and there was nothing wrong with that. And I love my dad for that because he never made me feel like something was wrong with me. He never made me feel like something was broken. And I really, really appreciate that.
So I hesitated just because this is my dad. And
So he felt on the spot choosing one of
yeah,
us.
so my first thought is like, crap, this is going on the internet. Like, my mom's gonna watch this. Full disclosure, not trying to play favorites or anything like that, but I was closer to my mother by default growing up because I didn't know him until I was 8. So our relationship was quite literally seasonal. I would spend the school years on the East Coast in South Carolina with my mother, and then I would spend the summers and then some holidays with him here in Southern California. So after college, we weren't in communication for 5.5 years, and we reconnected in 2018. So we're newly back in communication within less than 2 years now.
I wish my father showed me more affection.
We got some late bloomers.
Has my father said he loved me in your presence?
He's written it in a card.
He did write it in a card once. He's never said it. And he's currently 88 plus years old, and you know, a lot less time on his side.
For me, it sounds almost like really childish, but I take love as like, just take my side. I don't like really want him to, but I kind of want him to.
Yeah.
You know, like I don't want
I'm very consistent. I don't take my wife's side automatically. I really is. Let's get all the facts here.
I guess I wish he was a little bit more affectionate, not in like a, like, oh man, like I need a hug because I'm feeling sad, but it's more like when you're really going through that shit, like when you're 16, getting involved with all the wrong people because of the circumstances you have to step up to, and you're doing all this bad shit. Like, I need you to tell me that it's gonna be okay, or like it's, you know, what you're doing, it's, you know, it's bad, but I understand why you're doing it. Maybe this will change how, you know, I'm doing things at the moment. That's legit just all I needed when I was like 12 to like 17. That's it. But that was, never got it.
I think it just depends on what your love language is. I think like physical contact, that just wasn't just like a thing. But I never doubted if my parents loved me. It's just like the only times we would hug is when there was like a major disagreement, and it was so awkward. Like I was just like, ah, like he showed affection in other ways.
You kind of can almost calculate it down through the different generation gaps. The generations below me, you're probably right on that cusp, but yeah, for men to show emotion, that was something they did not do. My dad was the farmer, my mom she had her clothing store, and she was just more out there. My dad liked to be on the tractor and away from everybody, so that kind of immediately set the tone. Then fast forward, and I came out, and everything just changed. You know, my dad, I'm going to hell, and my mom found the love, and you know, just it catapulted from there. So I love seeing these 20 and 30-year-olds with starting their families and whatnot, and I love seeing the different affections that they're able to put out there. It's that old nomer that men have to be this, men don't cry. I love to see that being pulled away.
Yeah, because we do.
Yeah, and need to.
I think it's impactful sometimes too to see, you know, like men broken down, you know, because it shows their humanity. Like, I've only seen my father cry twice in my whole life, but when it did happen, like it was very apparent. One, I learned, wow, he feels, and two, like, it was nice for me to see that like people aren't perfect all the time.
Does the impact of seeing your father break down and cry the couple of times you saw it, was it more impactful because you so rarely saw it?
I think it was because I didn't see it often that it was impactful. I think there's a comfort that I grew up with in knowing that my father was strong. And I'm not saying that emotional fathers aren't, but what I am saying is that my dad had a way of keeping his head in the game at times, because like say if I'm emotional and my mother's emotional and all my siblings are emotional, then like one of us has to be strong. At least that's what I believe, and that doesn't mean that he's not feeling it inside. But what I love about my dad is that he was always able to keep his emotions under control.
So is that masculinity to you?
It just sounds like maturity.
I would say so.
Yeah.
I would say not even just masculinity, but maturity.
That's strength for you. That's the strength that you admire in your father.
Mm-hmm.
I don't want to be like my father.
That's hard. My father was really there and did all the cool things. What I don't want to be like him is he was overly emphasis on work and money and just less feeling oriented. And to his credit, it's just the way he was raised. I don't have any bitterness toward him for it at all.
Yeah, and I would go along with that too, just in case he does see this, because he's always been offended by my vocalness on social media and whatnot. He probably thinks I just hate him until the cows come home. Quite the opposite. I respect who he is more than he probably ever realizes. He is a honorable guy. He has extremely strong convictions, and for those things, and a great work ethic. So there's a lot of great characteristics he does have. And as I get older and as I get in my emotion, I'm like, wow, that is so my dad.
I embody more things than I thought I would.
Yep.
What's crazy is that I really attached to everything that you said, because it's like in my early teenage years, like I absolutely hated my dad. Like he was just there every day, not working, just being there and just kind of taking up space. The more I look into it now, as I got older, I have an understanding of why he felt this way. It's because, well, early on in his life, because my mom, when she had me, she was only like 21. And, obviously with them both being young, it's like, how do we do this? For him being the man of the house at the time, having that kind of flip to my mom taking more responsibility, I can see where that kind of deteriorates him on the inside, because it's like,
Demasculinized
exactly,
him. Yeah.
I can't provide for my family. I can't show my son how to be, the ideal dad or the ideal man, or, whatever the case is. And, as I look back into it, I was like I fully get it. And it's like, I don't hate him now, because I can't hate somebody who's literally me, in a sense. Like his blood is running through my veins. Without him, there is no me. Yeah, even now I haven't even spoken to him in maybe almost 6 years, like at least like an actual conversation. But he'll pop in like when it's like the holidays. It's honestly it's a terrible feeling, but I know deep down he still cares for both me and my sister. It's just he's lost in his own kind of way, and he doesn't know how to come back from it, which is one thing I'm terrified of.
First, I just want to express how much I appreciate your perspectives and how much empathy you still have the capacity to give. Even in the midst of the pain, I still sense that you respect your fathers. 2 different times we didn't speak. There was a time where I was convinced that if I had a wedding, he wouldn't show up. If I had a kid, he wouldn't care. And I really had to grieve that relationship as if it was a death in the family. To be able to have this conversation has just been, and when I say conversation, I mean it's really been ongoing between the two of us. To be able to have that conversation has really been a huge blessing, man. I don't know how else to say it.
It's just really, warming to have, complete communication and understanding, to be understood and to understand.
My dad accepts the way I live my life.
I think so.
It's like a restart that I didn't think I was going to get, being able to just have this conversation at all. So to not only be back in a relationship, but to have, him. It's weird speaking about him in third person. He's sitting right across from me, but to have you genuinely just, kind of put your money where your mouth is and say I support you and really admire your passion and your drive to do that thing. Now I want to help you apply that to these areas that you've kind of let fall to the wayside.
Yeah, see what you guys got, like now after that whole like rebuild of everything, I'm I'm just like super jealous. I know my dad, even though he wasn't very vocal on a lot of things, I know he was never disappointed with a lot of the choices I made. He'll be proud that I've stepped up, taking care of both my mom and my sister to the best of my ability, holding it down at the house.
Dude, hats off to you, man. That's awesome.
Thank you.
Seriously.
He never makes me feel bad, but what I am saying is the idea of wanting to do music was something that I could tell took a little bit of time, because I come from a background or a household that's very 9 to 5. It was through my dad and his working endeavors that provided for my brother and I, and I appreciate that, and I'm very humbled that he would live that life for me.
But he wants you to live that life too.
Well, it's not that I think that he even wants me to live that life. It's just, we're kind of just in this waiting period. I just know I can't be where I am right now forever.
There's a few family and friend members that constantly are kind of come on, you should talk to your dad. Dude, I've never closed the door on him. I mean, I came out in the early 90s, which was weird and rare then, and at my age in Colorado. I knew my father wasn't really going to be a gung-ho cheerleader for the gay squad, but it just was surprising when my parents divorced at how religious he really was. He's told me I'm going to hell numerous times. I said, then we're both going to hell, but I'll be in that room next door having a hell of a lot more fun. He doesn't like my smartass quality.
Is the tension or the lack of communication solely based on what you just expressed? Or is there anything else that your father admires about your life?
Wow, did you talk to my dad?
No.
I'm messing with. But it is an interesting, and it's a really insightful question.
You seem like a very successful person. You seem like a very caring person. You said you're raising a son. So I just wondered, like, if any of that kind of like sends up a road flare, like, hey, like I'm not all bad, or like I'm doing all right.
I think he would tell you, I know my son's not all bad. I think in a way we both kind of are standing there wanting to have something more and say something, do something more, but neither one of us can find that language and that ability. We have I am my father. I have extremely strong convictions. And, yeah.
For me, it was just nice to see that somebody has a similar situation coming up as I did, because it makes me feel like I know it's out there, but it's nice to know that I've met somebody that has had a similar experience with, our father not really being there the whole time. But it's also good to see you guys having that good relationship with your father, and then even you having your father here, like it's crazy. And then even with the rebuild that you guys had, that's great to hear to me as well. And it's like I don't hear a lot of positive things when it comes to the things that combat me on the inside, and it's refreshing. It really is.
That's it. Thank you so much.
Thanks. The most manly thing to do is not hug after.
We hope you enjoyed that video. Take a moment to like, subscribe, make sure you comment below your thoughts. And if you're interested in buying a Human Good face mask, head over to humangoodla.com. Again, for every face mask that you purchase, we're able to donate a medical grade one for a local healthcare professional. So help us help them. We love you. Stay safe, and we'll see you soon.